Hello, and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will talk about in this video will be in my very own opinion and used for entertainment purposes only. Happy Friday. We're going to get into some things, so just let's talk about it. So, the first thing I want to talk about is Married to Medicine. So let me go ahead and just show you guys the new trailer that has dropped for Married to Medicine. And of course, I will be reacting to Married to Medicine when it comes on
Kidding me?
Pop
November.
your hip out, pull from the puss.
I'm back.
Did you miss me?
It's been time. I wanted to choke the shit out of Heavenly.
Good God Almighty.
Hey, how you doing?
Give me 1 second.
Just saying.
Just make sure you guys can see it. Let me know if you guys can see it.
She just asked me about my marital affairs.
How nosy.
When the hell you gonna handle your business with quiet?
I've been trying for 5 years. Who put all of this together?
It's Quad's boyfriend.
Boyfriend put it all together.
You got some time?
Hey, Tulip Tree,
That's
so much for
my
being here.
man, baby.
Welcome to Key West.
Put a one in the chat if you can see this video.
Did anybody know Apollo and Shereen was coming?
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
My husband ain't cheat. Your man does.
Heavenly. If she say one more disrespectful thing, I'm giving her cease and desist.
Get this bitch off me. Well, here we go again.
Heavenly goes in.
Don't talk about my wife.
You can hear
Some
it.
people
Okay,
can
give
be
me
played
1
with, but
second.
I'm-
So that means you cannot see it. Okay, got it too. Ooh. Give me 1 second. Let me open this up again.
Doctor.
You think my husband's abusive?
Give it a minute so it can catch
Excuse me.
up.
Are we supposed to sit down and have dinner?
This is the only sandbar in America with 8 black physicians on it. So we gonna get out and we just.
Every time I have vodka, it's the worst. This season on Married to Medicine.
Go! I'm on your ass, Cecil.
I'm ready, boo. Well, tonight, will it end in one of those?
That would be nice.
We're going to get on up out of there. Eviction notice. Yes, Brent do.
They done stood us up on cleaning day.
Now I'm really mad. Are you kidding me?
Pop your hip out, pull from the puss.
I'm back.
Did you miss me?
It's been time. I wanted to choke the shit out of Heavenly.
Yes, girl.
Good
Glad
God
you're back.
Almighty.
Hey, how you doing?
Just saying.
She just asked me about my marital affairs.
How nosy.
When the hell you gonna handle your business with quiet?
I've been trying for 5 years. Who put all of this together?
It's Quad's boyfriend.
Boyfriend put it all together.
You got some time?
Not that
Money
type of
ass.
time.
Thank you for being here, sis.
baby.
Welcome to Key West.
Look like Faith got a man with her.
Did anybody know Apollo and Shereen was coming?
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
My husband doesn't cheat. Your man does.
Heavenly. If she say one more disrespectful thing, I'm giving her cease and desist.
Get this bitch off, man.
But here we go again.
Heavenly goes in.
Don't talk about my wife.
Some people can be played with, but I'm not one of them.
Who you think you're talking to, bro?
Man, I'm talking to you, motherfucker. You gonna do? Come on,
No, no, no. Like that, because I know how your girl is. Get off!
Remember who you are. You are a goddamn doctor.
You think my husband's abusive? Yes.
Excuse me. Are we supposed to sit down and have dinner?
So that's what it is, guys. They done kicked it up a notch. Let me go ahead and stop sharing that. So let me ask you guys this. Who do you think Dr. Heavenly is going to have writing for her this season? Because she's pretty much gotten into it with every one of her castmates. So at this point, she doesn't have a lot of options. So I feel like since Quad's man can no longer film, that they pretty much need each other. So I'm pretty sure that Dr. Heavenly and Quad are going to be leaning on each other a lot this season, because not only did, Dr. Heavenly get into it with Contessa. At one point, she was into it with Dr. Contessa, Dr. G's new wife, what's her name? Sweet Tea. So she's pretty much been into it with the whole cast. Hey, Chronicles of Kim K, thank you so much for being here, sis. So it's going to be really messy this season. Um, Dr. Heavenly also got into it with Phaedra. So, even though Phaedra's not going to be on the next season, she is currently going to be on the season coming up. So she'll be there, and they're not seeing eye to eye. And I'm pretty sure Dr. Heavenly was behind inviting Apollo and his wife on the set. So that's going to be a big mess. So Dr. Heavenly is going to continue to do what she does, which is cause mess and chaos. So that's what we can expect from the new season. But I'm not even sure why they haven't even got into Dr. Heavenly's ass, because she is the troublemaker. I know that she makes for good TV, but at the end of the day, she really needs to tone it down, because she's making her husband look bad, and just pretty much the whole cast in general. Hey, Real Talk and Grace and Mercy, thank you so much for being here. And Chronicles of Kim K says, I just want Dr. Contessa to drag Heavilish by her edges and be done with it, and let Sweet Tea get a few licks in. Okay, I would love to see that, Chronicles of Kim K, because, Dr. Heavenly, I understand she's chasing cloud. I get it. But at the end of the day, girl, you need somebody to film with. So you can't come at everybody on your cast. That's just not going to work. Absolutely, Imani. Activate those likes. And she is speaking to Latrice. And to Latrice, I did drop the link if you want to come up and chat about this issue. But in the meantime, I am going to move on to the throuple, which is Ken, Trisha, and Marquez. Okay. So what I feel about this situation, I'm definitely team Marquez, because Ken, being the clout chaser that he is, I totally agree with Marquez when he says that he's using his family to pretty much chase clout, and it's not looking good. And kind of Chronicles of Kim K said, Heavish is so reckless and her time is winding down. Were you surprised to see Daddy, her husband, like come for Dr. G? Like, this is your friend. Like, your wife be doing too much. And instead of you confronting your wife about, just being so reckless on the show, you decide you want to tell Dr. G, to stop talking about your wife. Well, maybe if you had a conversation with your wife, Dr. G wouldn't have to call it out. Hey, the Silva, thank you so much for being here. Hey, guys, that is my teacher, the Silva. And if you have not taken her course already, and if you want to be a content creator, hint, hint, to some of you guys that are on the panel that I would love to see start a channel, make sure that you email DeSilva at DeSilvaTalkShow.com and take her course. I will be taking a follow-up course really soon here, and I plan on emailing her so I can come up on her panel so that she can highlight some of her students and get some feedback as to what's been going on with our channels. So I am looking forward to that. So I will be emailing you sometime today, DeSilva, and thank you so much for stopping in. I love, love, love her channel. As a matter of fact, last night I was dog tired after that 7-hour live on Queen's Shiva channel, but I did, make it to her live, and I was in the bushes last night, and it was a great show. So I will definitely be emailing you to come up on your panel when they get ready to show the reunion. And Chronicles of Kim K said, nope, not surprised at all. He gives me, we're a united front on camera, but behind closed doors, he gets in her tail a little bit, laugh out loud. I can halfway agree with that, Chronicles of Kim K, but I don't think that he gets in her ass enough. He needs to step it up because she is doing too much out here in these streets. And she also allowed Funky Dineva to throw her name in the mix when she clearly made a video and she stated the reason why she decided that she didn't want to do Messy Mondays anymore. And guys, let me ask you this since we're on the subject. Did you guys pay attention to the fact that when Funky, I call him Funky the Junkie, and that could mean funky because he likes to do drugs, but it can also state the fact that he's a junkie MFer because of the way that he left Michelle ATLian's home after she allowed him to live in there and he did not want to pay rent. But I noticed that when he was making his comments about the millimeters, he made sure that he only called it, reviewing the show. He never called it Messy Mondays because he did not want to use messy in the same sentence that he was talking about a professional who's supposed to be a doctor, but she wants to be on a show called Messy Mondays. He strategically left out the word messy because at the end of the day, that's exactly what they do on that show is get up there and be messy. And Toot Latrice says, I'm waiting on Payday to take the course. Did you hear that, DeSilva? Because she know I was talking about her. She knows I'm waiting on her to start a channel because wherever Toot Latrice is, I want to be because that is definitely my good sis. And she brings it, honey, when she comes up on these panels. So I know her channel is going to be lit, lit. And you are so welcome, DeSilva. And she said, I love meeting with my queens. Hey, Angie, thank you so much for being here. And Angie, she be holding it down as a mod for the Silver's channel. And I'm so happy that you were able to stop in. Hey, TNTG Mom, thank you so much for being here. And Angie said, good morning to all of the chatters. And Toot Latrice said she noticed that too. Like, even when he did his follow-up to clap back, he still never said Messy Mondays. So you can tell that, he had specific orders for somebody and he had no intentions on calling that show Messy Mondays, which is the name of the show. Maybe it's because Carlos took somebody's idea and everybody has put that out there. And Chronicles of Kim K said, right, just a little bit, definitely not enough. Otherwise, she wouldn't be out here reckless and running amok on her Bravo and YouTube. So she's talking about Dr. Heavenly's husband, the one she calls Daddy, which I think is a little weird. That's who Chronicles of Kim K is speaking of. And TNTG, I'm sorry, Toot Latrice said, hey, stranger, I miss seeing you. And you guys are just speaking to each other. So let's get into it about the throuple with Ken, Trisha, and Marquez. Okay, so first, Ken came out and he had all of these things to say. He says he loves melodies. He just doesn't like her millimeters. He says they're messy. I mean, he had a lot of things to say about the millimeters. When at the end of the day, everybody on this cast uses Melody for a comma. They know that when they mention Melody's name, people are going to come after them. And basically, they're just clout chasing. They want some airtime. They want to be in the blogs to make themselves relevant. And not to mention, it's contract time. So all of the cast members are trying to get a new contract. And I also feel like they're coming for Melody and her millimeters because they are trying to ice her off of this show. And it's so ridiculous that they want to ice out the star of the show. Like, where do they do that at? Like, that is so ridiculous. So I'm going to see how that works for you guys, but, go off. And Chronicles of Kim K says, I'm telling you right now, I'm a mark-a-meter. That was hilarious. It was hilarious. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say I'm a mark-a-meter because I'm not sure why he's trying to attach himself to Melody like that, but she's okay with it. I mean, she's inboxed him, so she's okay, with Marquez, but I do support him because I think he makes some great, valid points, especially when he says that he blames Trish because Trish definitely needs to get her man in check and she needs to let him know, look, keep my family out of your mouth. If you want to go live on Instagram and speak your piece, just keep my family out of it. Up until this point, her and Marquez have had a great relationship. And you can tell that just by the fact that she never wanted to get a divorce. Because even though the relationship was going bad, they still was able to communicate and be friends. But I think the reason why Ken is so jealous is because Marquez has become a fan favorite. Okay. Everything that he says is true. Like the fact that, obviously Ken can't have kids, and that's why he's always trying to claim other people's kids because he can't have kids himself. And if you want to be a stepfather, that's totally okay. But don't, try to make the biological father look bad just because you can't have kids and you just want to take over this man's life. That's just not how it works, you know. Hey, D. Humford, thank you so much for being here. And she says, ain't no millimeters messing with that idiot. Like, he's just not that relevant. Like, if he never would have came out and made the statements that he said, like, we're just not checking for Ken. Like, we think you're a weirdo, first of all, and you and Trish, that, you guys are just not that interesting. So after Ken said what he had to say and Marquez said what he had to say, Trish did clap back. And when I get caught up on these comments, I will let you know what Trish had to say. And Chronicles of Kim K said, oh no, I was being funny. I do support him though. Point blank, period. Trish and Ken are trash to me. Exactly. And Latrice says Trish allowed Negrilla, because that's his new name, to move in with her children because of his need. Yes, he got caught cheating with Trish, so he had nowhere to go. So he just moved in with Trish and her kids. And for this man to make so much money, I just don't understand why he moved in with Trish. Like, he could have gotten his own place. He claims he makes all of this money. So, and he's this stand-up guy. So why didn't you know, get your own place, and maybe Trish and the kids could have moved in with you at some point when you guys decided to take your relationship to the next level. In Chronicles of Kim K also said Ken is dark skinned Martell, straight up narc. Exactly. And I don't know if you guys also noticed that Ken used to tag Trish in all of the posts, but I noticed that he hasn't been doing that lately. And I think it's because every time he goes live or he makes a post, he don't want Trish to get the backlash. And Angie said Ken is rock face and Trish is hard face. Exactly. It's almost like at this point, they both look like a man. So I don't know what's going on there. He likes to say that Marquez is gay, but your girlfriend looks like a whole man out here. So let's just keep it real. So who's really gay out here? Hey, beautiful Linda Gamble. Thank you so much for being here. And let me just go ahead and let you guys know what Trish had to say about the matter because she was pretty pissed off at all of the backlash that she got from, Marquez calling her out, calling Ken out, and things like that. Hey, Mama Bees, thank you so much for being here, sis. And Real Talk with Grace and Mercy said, Ken is broke like the rest of them. And that's what I'm starting to believe. Like, why is he depending on these women so much? Because obviously, his first girlfriend that broke up with him after she found out about Trish, he obviously was living with her. That's why he had to find somewhere new to stay. So he's obviously taking advantage of these women and moving in with them, and just claiming their kids. Because as a mother, like when you decide to be in a relationship with a man and you have kids, obviously, if these men try to love bomb your kids, you want somebody who has a good relationship with your kids. So Ken seems to focus on the kids to get to the mom, and that's what it looks like he's doing to me. So this is what Trish had to say. She says, I'm about to start a talk with T and start roasting these content creators. First of all, Trish, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I just don't think you can do this. Like your personality, I just don't think that anybody would want to listen to anything you have to say. You barely can open up your mouth that seems like it's like glued shut or something. So, girl, right now you're just talking because I don't see you get on YouTube trying to go after content creators because basically, girl, we will demolish you out here in these YouTube streets. And she also said contestant one because this beat went live with the nerve to speak on ish she don't know about and then has the audacity, and she capitalized audacity to make that known, to come for folks. And I'm not the only one she come for on her BS, talking about folks hair with that supposed to be black brown family dollar store lace wig on and can't even see the part, and then to talk about Ken must be gay because I look manly, be sitting in that desk chair looking like Mr. Potato Head, talking like she got a mouthful of spit with the spit in the corner of her yuck ass mouth, and teeth look like she's been sucking since she came out of the womb. I'm low key with the shits. Keep on, and I'm going to fire that ass up. I let y'all take me through two levels. One, don't F with me. Two, all right, quit effing with me. And now here, the F, we are at three. F around and find out bitches, but stay tuned for your next. So, even she couldn't even write or read. So I can't imagine that she would be out here thinking that she's going to create a YouTube channel. That just doesn't make sense. Give me 1 second, guys. One second. So yes, that's what Trish had to say, but I won't believe it until I see it. I just can't see Trish starting a YouTube channel. But honestly, I can see where Ken would try to push her to do it because Ken is a clout chaser. So I can definitely see him pushing her to start a channel. So let me kind of get caught up on the comments. I am way behind. And Imani B said, you must be a VIP getting a visit from Queen De Silva and Princess Angie. I knew that you were royalty when we first met. Thank you so much, Imani. And Chronicles of Kim K said, child, the content creator she's talking about is going to eat her alive. And we all know who she's referring to, but I'm not going to mention anybody's name on my channel, but we all know. And the person that I think she's talking to, her wigs be on fleek. So we're not even fixing to go there. And on top of that, you know, she gets her wigs from a very well-known person out here doing the damn thing when it comes to her wigs, and that is Shay P. So we're not even going to play like that. And Mama Beast is speaking to everyone. And Toot Latrese said, Carlos should really give them an overview of public relations. At this point, Toot Latrese, Carlos just, there's no hope. He had the nerve to go on Twitter, aka X, and say that he's always right. Right about what? Like all of your shows, like they never get renewed. And then the ones that you still have, they're hanging on by a thread. So, Carlos, you need to do better. And Trish said, Trish just needs to suck it up. And she needs to admit that she made a mistake by getting with Ken. He's a real bad look for her. Like she's supposed to be an engineer, you know. So I don't understand why she would let this relationship interfere with her professional career. So Ken is definitely not a good look for her. And TNTG Mom says, sounds like something Ken wrote. Exactly. Like he's always pushing her to do things that she doesn't feel comfortable doing. That's what he's always doing. And Melanin Beauty says, hey, the network specialist, thank you so much for being here. And De Silva said, Heartface will get dragged up and down these YouTube streets. She better stay off YouTube. It will be her worst nightmare. So that's why I think she's talking. Like Trish just doesn't have the kind of balls that would allow her to be a content creator. I don't see that at all. Hey, Sandra P, thank you so much for being here. That's okay. The bushes are great. Just like the video. Thank you so much. And De Silva said, Carlos can't teach them in public relations. He is just like them with the mess. Exactly. And Chronicles of Kim K said, right, TNS, wigs are always on point, and they aren't. She'll joke herself before anyone else can. Yes, that's going to be an awesome read when she claps back on Trish. And TNT Mom says she must be going to play pre-recordings because that be can't solve. That's what I was thinking. Like you of all people, like honestly, I could see Ken getting a YouTube channel before I see Trish. And Angie said, that's right, read they behind. And De Silva said, their roles are reversed. She is strong and he is sassy. Exactly. Like he looks like the she and she looks like the he. But I guess it works for them. And another reason why I think that he's a little pressed with Marquez is because I think he's taken too many steroids. And I think that thing down there, that pain ain't working no more, which is why he probably can't have kids and it probably shrunk up if we were just going to keep it real around here. You know, he probably ain't working with nothing and he's so pressed because at the end of the day, he probably knows that Trisha still wants to sleep with Marquez. Like they have been besties for a long time. They've always had a relationship, you know, until he came in the picture. And his entire focus is on Marquez. Like, why? Even Marquez said that before they came to the show, they were good. So the fact that Marquez stepped up to defend himself, that's what Ken has a problem with. And Ken also hates the fact that the millimeters like Marquez. I mean, when he talks, he speaks like he has good sense. He says he's never been fired from a job. He had a professional job making lots of money, you know, before he decided to pursue, like he said, you know, building a legacy for his kids. So, you know, I think that Ken is a little jealous of Marquez and the fame that he has been able to gain. I mean, soon as he came on to Love and Marriage Huntsville, like people really could relate to Marquez. And I think that's what Ken doesn't like because we have no love for Ken. period. And we have, what was that name that we gave him? We just gave Ken a new name this morning. And let me see. Somebody said it earlier in the chat. Ken's new name. I think it is. I can't find it. I got to go back too far. And Linda Gamble said CK is not going to be satisfied until someone else gets hurt. Exactly. I was very shocked to hear that Ken pulled a GUN on Marquez and nothing was done about it. And Carlos just swept it up under the rug like he does everything else. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Marquez won't be back on the show because Carlos didn't want him to put that out there. We all know that. He likes to protect, his cast members. And I'm pretty sure he didn't want that out there. Hey, Yumina, thank you so much for being here. And De Silva said, we don't like harass sleeping with married people. Yes, Ken is definitely a side dude. And that's another thing that he doesn't like because, Marquez was a husband. He's just a side dude. Okay. Nick Grilla, there you go. So that's the new name that we gave to Ken, Nick Gorilla. Okay, because at the end of the day, he calls himself dark skinned Ken, but he's looking more like a gorilla out here. And TNTG Mom said Ken needs to stop purchasing infant clothes and get his ass in the big men's section. Yes. And, buy a nice suit. Like, why do you have to dress like a teenager with these tight ass clothes on? I don't know if he's trying to imitate Martell, thinking that's a look, but it's not a good look. It is not a good look out here, and he really does need to revamp his wardrobe, because he's not looking good at all. And then he really needs to tell his, girlfriend Trish that she needs a stylist because you can just tell that she's not working with a stylist. The two different looks that I saw her in around the reunion time, neither one of those looks were given. Okay. So she really does need to, get a stylist because that's one of the main things that she's lacking right now. And then Marquez also pointed out that, they've been on this show long enough that they should have started a business. Initially they said they were going to open up a gym, but we haven't heard anything else about that. And I do believe that Marquez is going to, come out with his clothing line that's going to be called Don't Crash Out or something like that. And he's going to make them look bad because I do believe that Marquez has it in him. The way that he came out and he was able to pull in the millimeters and get our attention, Ken just can't do that because he wanted to, follow behind Marceau and come out here trashing the millimeters when at the end of the day, you're still trying to ride off of Melody's coattail like the rest of the cast. They know that if they mention Melody's name, there's some money to be made by using her name. So that's what they're trying to do. And Dee Herford said, I don't think anyone in the throuple is telling the complete truth. That could be true. That could be true, Dee. And I have to that we know that there are some things about Marquez that we just don't know about, but everything that Marquez says pretty much makes sense. If Ken did pull that GUN on him, I could see him moving to Atlanta to keep from going to jail. Like, you can't threaten my life, you know what I'm saying, without repercussions. So I feel like he moved to Atlanta to not only pursue his dreams, but also to get away from a toxic situation that ultimately could land him in jail. So to me, that was very honorable for him to do that. I mean, people have relationships with their kids that live out of town all the time. So he could still be a hands-on father. I mean, he's only a couple of hours away. So he can see his kids whenever he wants. He's not that far away. Hey, Paula Childs, thank you so much for being here. She says, hello, everyone. Her man got on a wig. Paula, that's what I heard. I heard Ken was wearing a toupee. Like, who does that? I mean, I'm not saying that people don't wear toupees, but usually it's the clear people, that's down with the toupee thing. And for Ken to be out here coming for people, knowing that he wears a toupee, like that's an open door to be dragged. I'm just saying. And Yumina says, I agree, network specialist. Yes. So they say Ken out here wearing a toupee. Yes, to the trees. Paula Charles is in the house. And to the trees, I'm gonna drop the link so that you can come up and chat with me, sis. If you've got a moment, we're not gonna be on here that long. I am on my lunch break, but you always have some great things to add to the conversation. So if you could come up for a minute, that would be great, sis. And D. Humford said, he hasn't pulled me in. I only support Mel. I've been burned too many times by people that allegedly support Mel. Here's the thing, D. I'm not saying that, we're all in with Marquez, but if I had to choose a side, because obviously Ken has picked a side. If I had to pick a side, it would definitely be Marquez and not Ken. Like, Ken is not likable at all. And the way that he was just so quick to just drag the millimeters and just women in general, like, I just don't see it for Ken. Hey, sis, thank you so much for coming up.
Hey, you asked. I was like, let me come up here and talk to her right quick. How are you?
I'm doing great. And what do you have to add to this?
Network specialist. I just have a whole problem, really, with Trish and Ken talking about the kids. I really don't care about their love life. I don't care about their
Mm-hmm.
relationships. I don't even really care about how. Sorry, I had a call coming in. I hope I'm still here. I don't even
You're
really
here.
care about their with them beefing with Marquez. I just care over the fact that this man who just slid
Mm-hmm.
on in between um, Marquez being able to come home to his house that he put up half
Mm-hmm.
for,
Hmm.
and he's in
You
that
know
house with
what?
those kids.
Now that you mention that, think about the fact that Marquez knew that Ken was coming over there. So what that tells me is that he was there for the initial, whether they're renting, buying that home, he was there for all of that. That's
Right.
how he had the code to know who was coming in and out of that house.
That's right. That's right. And it just made me realize, or I'm just gonna
Hmm.
assume because it's not you can't tell me that he was forming a relationship or building a bond with these children prior to moving in with Trish.
Hmm.
It doesn't even seem plausible. And because they wouldn't be getting a house, Marquez and Trish would not have been getting a house together. So I know those kids wasn't around Ken like that. And for him to move
Exactly.
in, for him to make these, I think it's disgusting for him to even bring up what he's doing as not even a stepfather, because you can't even call yourself a stepfather because you're not married.
No.
You're just someone there who's helping out.
Yes.
And
I mean,
to
he's trying to
continue,
love bomb the kids to get close to Trisha. That's what he's
right,
doing.
right. Like exactly from what my understanding is, the house isn't purchased, it's rented. So yes, you
Hmm.
could be paying the rent. Yes, you could be allowing him, one of the kids to drive a vehicle of yours, but that still
Hmm.
should not be something to use against their father when they still speak to their father.
Exactly. And what do you think about Ken saying that he's taking care of those MF and kids?
Then that's the thing. He shouldn't even be
That is
saying
so
that much.
disrespectful.
It's
Hmm.
disrespectful, and it really shows that that was something that he was probably prepared to be with Trish, but he didn't want to have to deal with no kids for real. Because I'm sure with
Hmm.
him coming in, his masculine energy and the budding son's masculine energy upsetting the household probably does cause some friction within the home. I would assume it would because
And my thing, hmm
Mhm.
And my thing is, he said it because, he gained these two kids, like you said, that he wasn't prepared to do. So now it's more like a chore. And sometimes when you're angry, things just slip out. And I don't think he meant to say that. I think that was a slip of the tongue.
He meant it. He meant it. I always believe, I'm a firm believer that when it come out your mouth, you mean it.
Hmm.
You just probably made a mistake and let it slip, but you meant everything that you said. And I
Absolutely. Because
I
not
also
only did he gain two kids, he also gained a baby daddy.
and a
And we
baby.
know how that could be sometimes.
But this is my confusion. You were messing
Mhm.
with this man's wife since 2017.
That part.
At a minimum, just shut up. Just shut up and just be there. And when he, in his way of saying that he wasn't upset over finding out that Trish had dealings with Martell, he was. Because in
Hmm.
2017, if you were dealing with her, you accepted the husband, but you didn't accept Martell. So you
Exactly.
tell me that you're not
And,
upset.
and Marquez loves to use that to get up under Ken's skin. You know what I'm saying? The fact that she slept with Martell, you know.
He claims that it was before. Do you remember when Marquez said that they moved in together? Was it like 2022?
Him and Trish moved in together?
No, when Ken and Trish moved in. I vaguely remember
Okay.
him saying that 219 he
Hmm.
was there. Something he moved, it was a time frame he moved up into the kids' bedroom.
Hmm.
Then he moved around the corner. Then he moved
Yep.
to I can't remember
Atlanta.
what was the time frame that he moved to Atlanta because that's really not
Hmm.
that far. That's not a long period of time.
Exactly. So I believe that, when he moved down the street, that's when him and Ken got into it. And I believe, in my opinion, that's when Ken pulled the gun. It was when he was living down the street. But I could be wrong because their timeline is just not clear.
Let
And
me ask
Imani
you this.
said,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Mhm.
ahead.
Let me just read this comment really quick. Imani said, anybody who thinks that the imbecile Martell and moron is somebody is clout chasing. The Gorilla King is clout chasing the moral. Exactly. Hey, CDW, thank you so much for
Both
being here. And go ahead to.
both of them are cloud chasing off Marquez. Is Marquez the
Mhm.
moron? I don't know who. Okay, if it's
Yeah.
Marquez, I think they're both cloud chasing after him because the whole storyline was built around them being together. The husband left, and he doesn't have a
Mhm.
relationship with kids. But I have a question.
He,
Do Trish, especially after you read her little Facebook pop off, do you feel she's
mhm.
a woman who is secretly or kind of sort of depressed? Because for some reason, I think personally she's violent. And I also think that she probably was violent towards him,
Okay.
Marquez.
I did a whole video on that too, Latrice. I did a whole video. I absolutely feel like Trish is depressed. And I just feel like she has issues, like mental issues. You know what I'm saying? And I believe the men that come into her life, they play on that because she's so
Mm.
vulnerable because she's going through all of this stuff in her head. And when she gets the attention, this attention from these men, it's like a temporary band-aid for her, you know?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
she's just looking for some attention because Marquez, because they got together for at such a young age, he wasn't able to deal with that. And that's every time he goes live, he always apologizes about that. So I think he really feels bad about the fact that he couldn't deal with her issues at the time. He didn't know what to do to be able to deal with it. And he would say how he would go to his friend's house, lay on their couch and crash and talk about how much he hated his life. So
Right.
I think that he hated the toxicity in his marriage and he just didn't want to be there anymore. It was just too overwhelming for him.
And the fact that she was cheating.
And she was cheating.
I,
What he wasn't giving her, she was getting it from other men. Absolutely.
I think for some reason she doesn't come off that way to me. And I keep trying to see her in that type
And
of
which
light
way is that?
as
Depressed?
mhm, because
Okay.
it's something with her resort to it's her mouth. and the
Mhm.
way she pops off. She never comes back in a classy way, in an intellectual way, in a calm way. She's always coming so forceful. And I can see her being with her statue,
Mhm.
possibly just throwing, in my opinion, throwing some hands at Marquez.
Yes, and because she works out, maybe she thinks that, she can fight her man, just because she works out. And yeah, I can definitely see her being a violent person, you know. And
Because they're talking
then Kit,
about, oh, I'm sorry,
mhm,
they're talking about Marquez absenteeism. However, why are you even discussing the children? Period. Why are
exactly.
you discussing your children? That they shouldn't even be a topic of concern, considering that you've allowed the public to see
Mhm.
that you're still married and you have a side chicken.
There
I don't
should be an
understand that.
understanding. Like I had this understanding, with, my ex, when I was a single mother. And this was just something that we would never do, even though my kid's father was not as active as I would like him to have been, especially with me having three sons. I would never, never, ever, ever say anything negative about my kid's father in front of my kids. And my husband never did that, as well. That
That's
was,
how
if
it was
anything,
too.
we would say positive things. Like we would just never do that. Like that is so lame for Ken to do that. And it's even lamer for Trish to allow him to do that. That should be an unspoken understanding that don't ever say anything negative about my kid's father. Because at the end of the day, they love their father. Like, why would you do that? So that shows that Ken is just a punk ass nigga, if you want to
He
know the
is.
truth.
And you know what?
Like he don't have
He had me a little confused because sometimes I'm a little dyslexic when it comes to the sayings, but he said that Marquez is not a good father. Anybody can be a daddy, but I'm a father. I thought it was the other
mm,
way around, that anybody can be a father, but I don't know. I thought daddy was a little bit more personal, that we would say that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm
well, no,
wrong.
I think yeah, I think you got it twisted. Anybody could be a daddy, but it takes a good man to be a father. Father takes precedence over daddy, from my
Okay,
understanding. Hmm.
okay,
But at
okay.
the end of the day, like, Marquez had this relationship with his kids that Ken just will never be able to break. I mean, you can buy them gifts, you can love on them, you can try to take pictures with his kids, but at the end of the day, kids love their father. I don't care if they're an absent father or whatever the case may be, like kids love their dad, and you are going on social media talking about their father, at some point, those kids are going to start to hate you. You know what I'm saying? You've only been around for a couple of years. True, you and Trish was probably creeping long before that. But as
Right,
far as these kids are concerned, you haven't been around long enough to just throw
exactly,
their dad. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Especially when they're still talking to him. And I Trish, as a
Who's
mother,
that?
when I
Mm-hmm.
think of Trish, I don't I don't like the overly muscled body, but I think that she looks nice because I saw a lot of women in the military who achieved those results. But that's their
Mm-hmm.
preference.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think all women in their own way are beautiful, but it's her
Mm-hmm.
mouth that bothers me. And the way she
Okay.
pops off, and Ken, their focus when they tend to try and get back at fans of the show,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to
Mm-hmm.
attack looks. And
Yes.
the threats that she make, I think Marquez hated his life, although that they were high school loves, that she
Mm-hmm.
may have been putting hands on him because he did say that when him and Negrilla got into it, that she jumped in against him as well. So
Yes,
you remember that?
absolutely.
And I can understand why
When
he wouldn't want to go into their home
mhm,
because and I just feel like we see him with pictures of the young lady, but
The daughter,
don't
you mean?
the daughter, but we don't
Hmm.
see him in family photos with the young man.
Yes, that is quite odd. And
Mm.
just think back to when we first found out about Marquez. Remember that they would all take pictures together. So why all of a sudden is Ken so angry? Like they were almost like one big happy family. We've seen them in photos together, and I'm speaking of Ken and Marquez. It
Right.
wasn't until the show when they were trying to spin this false narrative about Marquez, and he decided to come on the show to defend himself when everything went wrong.
That's what they're
And this
mad.
man has a right to defend himself.
That's exactly why they're mad at him. It's because and Trish said it
Exactly.
when she was in High C when High C interviewed sent the questions. She said had he stuck to the plan, got the bag,
Exactly.
yep,
Didn't she
got
put
the
that in
bag.
somebody's inbox on Instagram? She
Well,
messaged that to somebody that it
High
was
C,
Marquez's fault because he didn't stick to the plan. They were supposed to just be out here getting his money.
there's a High C did a video on it. It was she texted her Facebooked her
Hmm.
some message some questions, and she
Hmm.
responded back, and she's responded back in detail. And it was after Marquez's interview, and it was after when she came at Marquez and she was calling him a lot of names and stuff. It was after
Hmm.
then. And she did. She said that had he just shut up, got to the bag,
Hmm. Got to the bag.
got to the
And
bag,
that's the
and
funny
just
thing.
mhm.
That's why I don't see her coming on YouTube because she just doesn't know the right things to say. You know what I'm saying? Like she totally messed that up. Like, girl, why would you be talking to anybody when you know that it's going to be out here in these YouTube streets? Like she messed up.
But it's out here in the YouTube streets, but network specialists, we don't even
Hmm.
care. I haven't seen anyone do no deep dive on them. I haven't even saw anyone that like they did Sonny and Moses. I haven't seen
Hmm.
anyone trying to go out there, find out their information
We
because we
haven't
don't
tried to dig and get, like we would normally do with people who we kind of care about. Nobody has done any of that. We
none of
haven't
that.
looked them up. And he needs to be
Nothing.
quiet before we start digging. It's not going to be me personally, but it's going to be some of these other content creators who knows how to get the court papers and things like that. So he really needs to be quiet before, we start pulling up some of their,
And
business.
and it may come from both sides because I really think that he doesn't understand what being a public figure is. And
Hmm.
because he did force her into this role, they just need to suck it up because I'm sorry, her reunion hair was awful. I mean, there's no other way to say it. The wig itself
Hmm.
was awful. It did not even look like real hair. And everyone, who's on these reality TVs or in entertainment, they hit a miss. They sometimes don't get it right, but they just carry on. You don't have to argue with people because they don't like what you had on or how you presented yourself. Just let it go. And that's why I think they have problems. And I
And
think
see,
mhm,
that's how you know that somebody is not made for TV. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this just comes with the territory. When you decide to be on a reality TV show, that comes with the territory. People are going to talk about you. They're going to pull up your information. I
right.
mean, that's just how it goes.
They're gonna
And you don't
engage
have to
for those
respond.
they're gonna engage. They want to
Hmm.
engage with
Yeah,
them. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But yeah, they want to engage with those stars who are coming on lives and saying things that's just something that they're gonna do.
you
And
know
you
why
can
I think they're mad and they can't
why?
they can't handle it because they're not getting paid any money. Can you imagine getting paid pennies to be drugged on social media? I think if they were getting paid more money, they would expect it and they would, I mean, they're never going to like it, but they would deal
Right.
with it if they were actually making a bag.
They're not. They can't be. I believe Winner. I believe her, and she said next year she'll be able to drop the paperwork. But I believe
Yes, when her
that they're not,
contract is over.
that there's not that much that they're getting. It just the show doesn't show it. The
Hmm.
cinematography, it looks like is done. I've seen Tubi movies that looks better than what they bring. Well, with the
Hmm.
exception of when Mel comes on screen for some reason. It looked like maybe they change up the color, the brightness. I don't know, but it's
Yeah,
different when she's on
totally
screen.
different.
Yeah, when she's
Mhm.
even in the screen on the scene, it looks totally different. And they just, I believe it. That's exactly it. Didn't Marquez and the whoop whoop. They can't
Yeah,
stand the whoop whoop. That's why
can't
Wanda be trying
stand
to
it.
down it. Huh?
And didn't Mel inbox him and tell him to make some shirts with the
Yes,
woot woot
that's
on
what I
there?
heard. That's what I heard.
Yes. They are so mad that, Marquez is trying to attach himself to the winning team and they have attached themselves to the losing team. And that's why they're not able to come up off of this show. Because at the end of the day, everybody needs to look at what Candy Burris did when it came to reality TV. She got on the show, she built all of these different businesses, and that's what you're supposed to do. And they don't know
That's
how
what
to
you're
do it
supposed to do.
you know,
Right.
and Mel did exactly the same thing. She
Well,
came up off of this TV show, and you're supposed to do that and get out.
she
You know
did.
what I'm saying?
You saw the
And move
club
on with your life.
the 2.0 has, right? The club that
Hmm.
with that tacky interior. I'm
Oh
sorry.
my God, which is
I'm sorry.
probably not going to be around for long. I don't know if it's open, not open. Now, what do you think about Marceau coming out like he has this whole new attitude and he's trying to be a better person? Are you buying that?
I because of the past few years, and of course, if he was to come out and say that he now understands the role of viewers and
Hmm.
livelihood or whatever, whatever, and I
Hmm.
could understand, but I don't care anything about Marceau. I don't
Yeah,
care
we
about
don't care
his
about
life
none of
either.
these people.
Because I always
And
see
I
him yelling at Kiki in my head. Whenever I see him, I just see a
Oh,
yeah. And because that bothered me. I have a problem
mhm,
when men, especially with women who are single or women who are
yes.
just by themselves at the time, I have a problem with them, coming at women like that. And that's all I see
All of
with him.
that smoke should be for their husband or their man. Like,
Right.
why would you approach a woman? Like, that is such a BAN type of situation.
Right.
Like, who
And
does that?
he does it all, and he's actually done it. Even with his scenes with Mel, it may seem enjoyable. I still don't like it because he says off the wall things in order to try to get that scene that is still to me
Mhm,
unnecessary and disrespectful. And I just don't like. I don't like him at all. I don't like. I don't like Tisha, but I don't like how he treat her more than my dislike for her because she's a woman, a black
gotcha.
woman, black mother. Um, Kimmy, if anyone who can't stand for right, they're just not on my side. If you're not standing
Well,
for right.
sis, I want to say thank you so much for coming up.
You're
My
welcome.
lunch break is over. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for watching. If you have not done so, please like the video. And thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate it. And I spilled more on. Oh, no problem, Imani. Is thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like the video on your way out. And bye for now.